Hey guys, what's going on? Tool Cruise here, and today we're going to be doing a first look and review of BMC's Alpenchallenge AC01 One. So I've been really excited to test ride this bike for a while. I've been looking forward to this for months actually, and the reason for that is because this is going to be my first ever test ride on the Gates carbon belt drive system. I've actually been wanting to test out this system literally for years, and I've never had the chance, I've never had the opportunity, and I actually work for the distribution company for BMC here in Japan, so I was able to steal this bike from work, and finally this weekend I was able to take it out and steal it for a test ride. So we're going to be going out and hitting the road. I've already done a first look of this bike, so if you're interested on the entire bike itself, the details of the bike, you can check out that video. We're not going to be doing that today. Today we're just going to be going for a ride and doing the first impressions. So let's go ahead and get out on the road. So here we go, time to get started with the ride. I'm riding with my wife, Tung-chan, today. She's on her normal road bike, and it's already kind of the end of the day. You can see our shadows right here. And so anyway, let's get into first impressions of the bike. This is actually my second time riding the bike. I had to ride this to get home from work yesterday, but this is my first test. We're going up a hill right now. My commute is mostly flat, and so this bike actually uses the alfine 11 hub and shifters. It's my first time using an internal hub system like that on a bike like this, of this quality. I've used them, internal shifters, on like the cheap Japanese Mamachari city bikes, but man, this is a way different feeling than what I'm used to on a normal chain and geared bike. The crazy thing about this system is you can shift while you're pedaling or while you're not pedaling. So if you're in way too big of a gear, you can just drop down a bit and then start pedaling again. You're good to go. That's crazy to me and super convenient. One of the other first impressions I had when I first got on this bike is just how insanely quiet it is. Like when I'm pedaling, it makes no sound. So I'm not sure if you can tell how quiet this system actually is, because we got all these annoying loud trucks driving by. And Tung's drive chain, I can actually hear hers louder, even though she's like way over there right now. And I don't hear anything from my drive chain, but I can hear her chain up there. So this thing is super silent. I'm not sure if it's because this is a brand new bike. Like if you use this bike for a while and if it gets a bit dirty and gets some dust and sand in there, I wonder if it gets louder. So I won't be able to tell that right now because this is only a first ride impression, but I'm curious if you guys have used a system like this. Let me know. Is this constantly always this quiet, or does it get louder over time? So I know there's a lot of different options you can get with the belt system. You can just get a normal single speed, and you can go with the internal hub option like I am right now with the Shimano alpine hubs and shifters. So one of the things I was worried about was the lack of gear options, since this is only 11 gears. But this is actually the first time I've dropped into the lowest gear, and we're going up this climb. It's not a super steep climb or anything, but I'm spinning out. Let's drop down a bit so you can see my legs moving. And I'm spinning pretty good pace, and this is not a super steep climb by any means, but definitely don't feel under geared by any means yet. So I'll have to test this out on some steeper climbs, but for the most part, for general city riding, for general commuting, this is plenty of gear range I'm finding. And I mean, I ride a single speed half the time for when I'm commuting, and I'm generally okay. I'm used to having limited gears, but I'm pretty happy with this Alpine 11. Like, and the top gears are pretty heavy. Like, I don't think I'll ever need to use the highest gear in this, like unless I was doing an actual like super serious training ride or sprint or something like that. But yeah, the gear range is pretty good, I gotta say. The other thing I was curious about was power transfer. So when you stand up, get out of the pedals, like I don't notice really. Oh, we got the echo of the tunnel right now. Woo. Here we go, we got a nice little kicker, so let's up the gear a bit, stand up, and yeah, I don't really notice any problems with the power transfer. Like, I honestly can't really tell any negative differences compared to a normal chain. Like, I feel pretty normal power transfer. The biggest thing that's really weirding me out though is like how absolutely silent this is, and that's especially true for me coming from my commuter bike lineup. Like, I have a whole bunch of different commuter bikes. I make a bunch of videos about bike commuting on this channel with my mountain bike, my cyclocross bike, my road bike, and my single speed, they're all in rough condition. They're all super loud right now. They're all pretty much broken from me not maintaining them properly. And that's one of the main reasons I'm really interested in getting a belt drive bike. And that is because I'm horrible with my bike maintenance, and I have to commute every day. I commute 40 kilometers round trip every day, full year, winter, summer, rainy season, you name it, I'm riding. And I want a bike that is pretty maintenance free, pretty comfortable to ride, and something that's going to be super durable. So something kind of like this. And one of the other things I really like about this bike that I've never had on any of my bikes is a dedicated fender set. So I'm pretty curious about this because I've never ridden like a high-end bike with a fender set before, other than kind of like, you can see on Tuanchan's bike, she's got a fender on the rear. That's pretty much all I do on my commuter bike, but that's only like kind of a little band-aid to the problem. Like the rainy days, it's actually not the rain that's horrible, I've learned, but it's the flooding. I actually get more wet from all the water that's on the ground than I do from the rain that's coming down. And that was a lesson I've learned the hard way from my commuting this year. And wow, like I used to look kind of negatively down on bikes with fenders. I'm like, that's kind of lame, but my way of thinking has changed completely, and I'm in desperate need of a really nice set of fenders like this. My main commute path is actually along the river path, and if you know a little bit about Japan and its weather, you'll know that Japan has some pretty intense rainy seasons and often quite a bit of flooding on the rivers during those seasons. So the river path is designed really horribly. It's not designed for pedestrians, it's not designed for cyclists. It's more so designed just to be like, oh, let's just add a path here by the river. They didn't think about anything when building it, like flooding concerns. So it actually gets flooded over really easily and gets really dirty, really nasty all the time. So that's one of the reasons why my bikes have just been getting destroyed from all this flooding and nasty dirt and stuff. So having a nice set of fenders would fix that theoretically, and I'm really excited. I'm going to be testing this bike out for the next week or so, but I'm not sure how roughly I can ride it. I don't think the company would appreciate me riding it in the rain every day, considering this is a demo bike and really something that we want the customers to be riding. So I don't think I can test it too hard, but we'll see what we can do. For anyone new to the channel, this line here is actually not a highway, but it's a maglev train system. So one of the only maglevs, I think, in Japan, or one of the few maglevs still running in the world, really. So we're pretty lucky to have that cool system nearby where we live in Japan. And we're actually en route today to get to one of our favorite snack shops. I haven't been there in months. Those of you who are fans of the channel know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it right now, but if you can guess, write it down in the comments. Where are we going right now? I'm sure some of the old, dedicated, loyal fans will recognize this path right now. So I'm in like the top gear right now, barely even spinning, easily rolling 35k an hour. And yeah, so no problems with gears on this bike. Looks like we got a little bit of traffic jam here. It's one of the reasons I love riding my bike to work. Don't get stuck in this crazy traffic here. Japan actually has some really bad traffic jams, mainly because most of the roads only have one lane like this, and there's traffic lights everywhere. So if people are in the line, they're trying to turn one direction, like back there, they're all trying to turn right. Everyone's stuck waiting there, and like people like us, we just want to go straight, but we can't move forward because everyone's waiting to turn. So some pretty bad road designs here, but I mean, the excuse is always it's an island country, they don't have the space to build. This bike is still kind of freaking me out with how silent it is. So the loudest part is really when you hit any bumps, you'll hear a little bit of noise from the fender. I actually have a toolbox case in my water bottle holder, and so that'll make a little bit of rattle when I hit a bump or something, but I mean, that's no problem. Another thing that's taking me a little bit to get used to is the shifting. So when I shift under pressure, it's quite a different sensation than when you shift under pressure with a chain. Like, you really shouldn't shift under pressure that much. It's not good for your chain. And I'm curious how bad it is for this system. I found that if I don't pedal and I shift and then I start pedaling again, it's much smoother. But if I shift while I'm pedaling, I might feel a little bit of a jerk, but it's not really anything significant. It's just a slightly different sensation than when you get when you're shifting in a normal chain bike. I'm sure that's something you can get used to pretty easily. But yeah, the benefits of this system, like I've read a lot of reviews online and I've gotten hundreds of comments on this channel with people telling me, Cruz, you gotta get a belt drive bike, you gotta get a belt drive commuting bike. Like all of you guys who have this system recommending it to me, and man, it's great to finally be on this bike and test it out for myself. All of the long-term benefits, like I wouldn't really be able to see those until I actually am riding this bike for a long amount of time, but supposedly the chains on this system or the belts on this system last at least like 3 times longer than a traditional chain system. So they are a bit more expensive, but they last a lot longer. So that's something I'm really excited about. And the other thing is just the maintenance. Like you don't have to deal with a greasy chain, you don't have to deal with cleaning your chain, and you don't have to worry about rust or anything. Like I work a standard salaryman job here in Japan, so I'm out the door at 7 most days, and then I get back home at about 7 every day as well. So I'm out about 12 hours because of my work and because of my commute, and that's a pretty big chunk of time. And when I get home from work, if it was like a dirty ride, like, and I'm tired from work, the last thing I want to do is clean my bike. And that's the main reason why all of my bikes are in pretty rough condition right now. And I feel like this system would really fix that problem. I could easily just get home from work, lean my bike up in its rack, and just be done with it, and then get on it the next day, not have to worry about anything. That's my image of this system anyway, but if you own this system, let me know if that's the reality. How maintenance free is this in reality? The only way to really know is to test this system out for a long amount of time. Here we go, we got some sand. So I mentioned earlier in the video, there's just a bunch of rivers in Japan, rivers everywhere you go. And they're really scenic riding in these kinds of places. You got some mountains over there. These giant trucks driving on these tiny roads, pretty ridiculous. And I really like riding in this area. I don't get to ride over here so much lately because I mainly ride into the city for work. But you can see we've got some little farms over here. So it's harvesting season. These signs are everywhere. These are like, watch out for kids running around. And one of our dreams is to have our own little farm garden one day, so we can grow our own vegetables. I just love these little inaka countryside sections in Japan. Really beautiful. This is the Japan I love. I don't really care for the big city. It's just loud and crowded and expensive, but I love these areas. Great for riding, beautiful scenery. Just got to watch out for those crazy drivers in big trucks. I also love these as well. I really don't know my flowers or weeds or whatever kind of names, but if you know the names, here we go, we got a bunch over here. If you know the names of what these are, they're always here in the fall in Japan, and they're really beautiful. Check that out. So we're actually in the first week of November right now. I'm actually out in shorts and a short sleeve jersey right now. It's actually pretty warm during the day. So we were at about 22 degrees Celsius today and sunny, so pretty warm. But now that the sun's getting out, it's starting to get pretty cool. I think I'm gonna put on my jacket once we get to the secret restaurant destination. So that's another interesting thing about living in Japan is we've got a pretty delayed fall, so we haven't really quite hit fall season yet, but it's coming soon, and we're gonna be getting all the red leaves and stuff. I can't wait to show you guys some of that and do some beautiful fall weather riding. Best time of the year to ride a bike by far. I'm actually kind of curious to see how my commuting path changes over the fall. We'll see if that gets a little better. But anyway, getting back to the bike, this thing is a beast. I think I'm pretty sold on the Gates carbon belt drive. Like, I definitely want to get that for my next commuting bike. I'm actually pretty curious how it works on a fixie system. So that's another kind of bike I really want to test out, is a fixie style carbon belt drive system. We don't have any of those bikes, unfortunately, with BMC right now, so I'll have to try and find out a different brand that has those. If you have any suggestions, let me know down below in the comments. I haven't 100% decided on what bike I'm gonna get. This bike is pretty great and all, but it's more of like a fast, racy kind of commuting bike. There's not actually really any mounts, so if you wanted to put it on a rear rack or something like that, there's no mounts for that. So I think if I were to get a bike, I'd want to get one that has that system. The actual level down for this system has those racks, so that's another one I'm considering, the AC02. but I'm still searching for the right bike for me, the best commuting bike. So again, if you have any suggestions for any good deals, any belt drive systems, commuting bikes, let me know down in the comments. I'm really curious. This is still a whole new world to me, and I'm really curious to see what other options there are out there. So let me know. And here we are. We've arrived at our goal for today, for our leisurely ride here today. We actually worked pretty hard this morning editing videos and working on our blogs, so this is our reward for today. We're going to be getting some taiyaki. This is one of my favorite restaurants here in Japan, and actually where Tuan-chan and I had one of our first dates. And this place is always packed on the weekend, especially on a sunny weekend. Sometimes if you get here earlier in the day, there's actually a line going out, but we're actually here a little bit late today. And let's see, we've got a seasonal flavor. We've got the sweet potato flavor, so I think I'm gonna get that. We got our taiyaki. Dozo. Taiyaki. 一番好きな味は何？小豆。小豆。今日が新しい味食べてみよう。安納芋。So we normally go with our favorite flavor, which is the red bean flavor, and today we're actually going to try the new flavor, the sweet potato flavor. So that's a seasonal one. Oh ho ho. 久しぶりのたい焼き。ごちそうさまでした。美味しかった。また。芋食べよう。Alright guys, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's getting pretty dark as you can see, so I'm not going to film the rest of the ride home. Unfortunately, I can't take good video in the dark. Anyway, this is a great first ride, great first test on this bike. I'm really excited to continue test riding this over the next few days, so I'll probably be making a couple follow-up videos. If you have any specific questions or topics you'd like me to go over regarding the Gates belt drive or anything else cycling or Japan related, let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to subscribe and also give this video a like. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you next time here on Tubo Cruise. Bye bye. じゃあね。